This might be a bit controversial, but here goes. What if I told you that it's okay to be the bad guy? In certain scenarios. I'm not talking about criminal levels, but more or less societal levels. Let me explain. As long as I can remember growing up, in the 80s, that is, even now, there's been a trope that pretty much says, the good guy wins, bad guy loses, and, the attention is, you have to be the good guy for most parts. Now, I have on the screen Soldier Boy and Homelander, right? Two very bad guys, but very different in a sense, right? You have Homelander, who is, I guess, Superman, pretty much, right? But this guy has mommy issues, right? Didn't grow up with any parents, was basically created in the lab, and just has issues with people not liking him, very short tempered, right? Has a hard time controlling himself. Who I don't like, by the way. Soldier Boy, on the other hand, came up very differently, right? From his story, his father was very wealthy, owned half of the steel mills in the area that he grew up in, but his father didn't have time for him, right? So he went into this program, the Super Soldier program, pretty much a la Captain America, and this is how he got his powers. Even after he got his powers, came back, Dad told him that he took a shortcut, right? So he has the issue of, all right, his father didn't really accept him or make time for him. Fair enough. But he doesn't have a need to be liked or to be loved. He's not a sniveling, little whiny, CUNT, which is exactly what Homelander is. Now, in my opinion, I would take Soldier Boy over Homelander. I know that's controversial to say, but I would. Right? Because they're both bad guys, essentially, but different levels on that spectrum. Right? Because essentially good and bad are just, different frequency, different vibration. But they're on the same spectrum. Right? Like ugly and pretty. Right? You could still be, a woman and be pretty, very pretty, and then, descend on the other side of it to ugly, right? Just a different vibration, different frequency. And not for nothing, I'll be seeing some of the ugly ones pregnant, and I'm like, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, who got this woman pregnant? Somebody did, right? I wouldn't have, but somebody sure did. Anyway, I digress. Here's where I think it applies. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say you're in college, right? Maybe you're about to graduate with your bachelor's degree. You have a girlfriend, and I'm speaking to the men, obviously. You have a girlfriend, right? Main girl. But you happen to be somewhat of an Adonis, so you have this woman, and maybe you have 3 more, 4 more, who knows, right? Good looking guy, you're tall, right? You got good hair, not those naps, right? You got very good hair. You have a good lineage, right? Women are attracted to you. Plus, you swing that dong like King Kong, right? King Dingaling, right? So girls know about you, right? Even if it's just the first one or maybe the second one, they talk. It spreads. Everybody wants to know, right? So you have your pick. Let's put it that way. However, you decide, right, being the upstanding gentleman that you are, you know what? I am going to settle with this one girl, and I'm going to let number 2 and number 3 at least know that that's what I'm going to do. See how it goes. We try to part as friends. You do so, right? Tell them, listen, I'm going to try to make it work with this one. If it doesn't, all right, maybe we will revisit this relationship. But let me at least focus my energy on number 1. A month later, you get a call from your number two girl, right? Unexpectedly so, because you haven't spoken to her. She says she's pregnant. And the kicker is there's somebody else involved in that picture. What do you do? Do you take the risk and tell your girl who you've been with for the past month, right? Not seeing anybody else, not sliding off to go get some anywhere else. You just been with her, trying to focus your energies on her. Do you now tell her about this, or do you keep it a secret and roll the dice? The answer is you tell her. Because whether it turns out to be yours or not, the fact is that you were with this other woman. The probability that it's yours is roughly 50-50, right? You don't know exactly how long afterwards she was with this person. In a real sense, it doesn't matter because there's still a possibility. Hiding it and it turn out to be yours would actually be worse, right? So as a man, you can come clean. I mean, not saying you have to, but that would be my suggestion, right? Because especially if it was a pretty short time thereafter, some women they miss the cycle sometimes, it comes late because of, different things, right? That's how it goes sometimes. I've been around, I know. All right, so let's say you tell her, right? So now you have to wait. You wait, and the kid is born. Next most important step is a DNA test. Take the DNA test, and it turns out the kid is not yours, right? This is a Maury moment. You are not the father. What do you do then? Do you just distance yourself from this woman, or here's another kicker? The guy whose kid it actually turns out to be doesn't really want to have anything to do with that guy, right? Not interested in being with him, currently not with him, and is about to try to raise this kid on her own. What do you do? Do you help out, or do you kick rocks? Now, from a very real and societal standpoint, I know people have done where they say, okay, I know it's not mine, but since you're not with this guy, I'm going to help you out. That would be the wrong move. Hear me out, right? You may come off like a jerk, a complete asshole. People might not like you, her family especially. Maybe even yours. They might, try to get you to simp and help this woman out, or whatever the case is. Listen, if you get out of a relationship with a woman as a man, and she's pregnant within a short space of time, and there's somebody else involved, that means this woman took actually no time to self-reflect and try to actually figure out, like, okay, why did he choose her over me? Now, let's say you were with number one before her. It doesn't even matter. The fact that you were attracted to this other woman and y'all had a relationship while you were with this other girl and she knew about her, that means there was something about it, that relationship and this person, the two of y'all being together, that made it work. The reason for the separation was not any type of animosity, right? It was just that, okay, maybe I should stop playing this game and try to focus on you. The fact that she did not take the time to then say, all right, this, it fell apart. Let me focus on myself. Maybe there's something about me that, I need to do better for me first before I go back into another relationship. If that didn't happen, you have no business aligning yourself with that woman, right? I have seen it several times. I've seen cases where the guy's waiting on a paternity test, right? Like someone I know, and there's actually two other guys involved. Like, if that child turns out to be his, there's a need for you to like come to the realization, like, damn, this one actually slept with two guys like right after me. Like, were we even in a relationship Like, was she messing with these guys at the same time as me? Or, how did this happen? So, yeah, in that case, you would come out looking like the bad guy, society wise, but it's the right decision, right? Who gives a shit what people think about you? You know what I mean? You have to do what is in your best interest. And staying with this person and helping them raise somebody else's kid is not in your best interest, right? Because there will be sacrifices to be made, especially on the financial side. But not just that, the emotional side, right? You having to raise somebody else's kid from that young, there'll be an emotional attachment. But in reality, this kid has another biological father. That's just the fact, right? And who knows if this woman would do the same thing again should things get a little bit awry, right? There's another scenario. You are a working class individual, right? Let's say you have a decent job, you're making moderate five figures, moderate to high five figures. Let's say about 75 grand, right? A year. You have a younger sibling, right, by about 15 years, who is currently in college, right? This person relies on you for little things here and there, not like tuition or anything like that, but things break down in their dorm, fridge, TV, right? Bluetooth headphones, whether they be Bose or whatever else, right? Money to go out on dates. And being this is your younger sibling, you help them out. Now, truth be told, this person is going to graduate soon and they're looking into getting into the field of entertainment, sports to be exact. Now, you're not looking for anything for yourself, obviously, because you did it out of, all right, this person is my blood. I'm going to try to help them out where my parents can't. Okay? Then, come to find out this person gets drafted. Now they start making millions. You're still making what you're making. Though that is the case, the bills that you were paying on this person's behalf, you're still paying them. Now, do you cut off these payments and be a jerk or an a-hole to your younger sibling, or do you, try as much as possible to get them to pay it, even though they're not doing it, and make them stand up and be a man on their own, right? Which is what you would expect. I say cut them off. There is no way that you've been supporting someone, and the case I gave or the scenario I gave is a sibling. It doesn't have to be. Could be a friend, side chick, whatever the case is. When you're supporting somebody and they finally get on their feet, if they don't feel like they owe you anything, then that's absolutely fine. But you don't owe them to continue that bad habit. In the case I know of, this guy had to continue paying a high cell phone bill. That is the purchase of a cell phone plus the plan for a younger sibling that got a contract, a sport contract, right? So we're talking about seven figures. And he actually has to beg this younger sibling to pay the bill. Then he finally flips out on him and is like, yo, nah, I'm not doing this. Cut the cell off, cut the number off, call the phone company, said, listen, I don't want this person on my plan anymore. I'm not paying it. I'm not paying their phone. They got to figure it out on their own. They got their own money, right? Tell us, listen, I don't want all the shit that I bought you. You can just keep that. I don't want the money back, nothing, but take care of your own shit. Do you know the younger sibling then goes off on the older sibling? Like he still owes him to pay it, even though this person is making millions of dollars. And that's the point right there. There's some people that will use you and use you and use you. All they know is to take. They don't know how to put anything into you, right? When they're down, they're down. They can't do anything to help you. When they're flush, you have no idea where they are, what they're doing with their money, how they're making out in life. All you know is that apparently they're doing good. but they don't know your phone number. This is one of the scenarios where, F it, you have to be the bad guy. You have to be, regardless of what your family thinks, people close to you think. You have to say, listen, nah, I'm cutting you off. I'm cutting you off, and furthermore, that's the last time. All right, next time you find somebody else to help you. And yeah, it might seem, a bit heartless, a bit, being a bit of a jerk or a lot, but it's the right thing to do. And that's what I mean. It's okay to be the bad guy, right? Because trust me, you will come out looking like the bad guy to a lot of people. And so said, so done. The older sibling, his mom, his sisters, um, and the aunt, a couple other people in the family was like, oh, you didn't have to be like that. You could have talked to him differently. And I'm talking to this guy and I'm like, bro, what else are you supposed to say to somebody who is making in a year about, let's say, did he say 10? I think he said the guy makes almost 10 times what he makes in a year. What else are you supposed to tell that person to take care of their bills? I told him, listen, if I was in your place, I would have called that SOB on the phone and cursed him the hell out. I don't give a shit if he was my younger sibling. You know what I'm saying? Nah. And this is why sometimes you have to be the bad guy. You have to be. And to hell with what society thinks. Because you bet your bottom dollar, a lot of these people in government and Congress and different places, they end up leaving these jobs being millionaires. You think it's from their salary? You think they was playing goody two shoes the whole time they was up there? I'm not saying all of them, but we know for a fact a lot of them, right? They come out way on top. They leave millionaires, not from public speaking and all this other crap that they do afterwards. No, when they actually leave service, public service, mind you, right? So they ain't getting paid tons of money. I know they do a lot better than a lot of people, right? They got a six-figure salary, but it don't add up, right? They get all kinds of insider trading information, right? They get money from special interest groups and donations and all kinds of perks and privileges for them being up there, while they look down on the rest of you who actually put them in office, right? They're trying to make their way into the 1% as much as they can. Now, is that being the bad guy or is it not? It is. Because they're up there saying one thing and doing something else completely. Anyways, I hope these two scenarios just help you realize that sometimes it's okay. In certain scenarios, you have to use a certain amount of intelligence, a certain amount of wisdom, and you got to make the tough decision. Now, I know 98% of people probably won't because they don't have that backbone to make those tough decisions, because sometimes these people are your family. Sometimes these people are people close to you, right? I know of instances where a guy has a relationship with a girl. Every time they meet up, she wants money. Every time, whether she comes over to him or they meet up somewhere else, she always wants money. But she has a man. It's almost like dealing with a prostitute, but, supposedly they have feelings for each other. As soon as this guy loses his job, he doesn't hear from her again. Messages her, she doesn't respond. So what was she really there for? Oh man, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And if they can't do right by you, you have no um, obligation to do such. Anyways, I'm gonna cut the video short here. I was off of YouTube for several months. I was actually writing a book, trying to actually get it published, and I always forget that I should state that my Cash App is in the description. I know a lot of people watch videos, they don't look at the description, but yeah, I am looking for donations because I'm going to use them to publish that book. And it's not a book about anything else but just, life experiences and how crazy they can get sometimes, right? Just things can snowball out of control. I think it's going to be a good book. I really do. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.